Welcome, everyone, to the stream. My name is Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Welcome. We got a lot to cover today. I'm going to start talking about this incredible interview that Bret Baier did with Elon Musk and the DOGE team on Fox. I hope you guys were able to catch it. It was absolutely amazing. And I'm going to break it all down and everything that happened yesterday. Yesterday was a big news day. We'll be on the air in about 15 seconds. So stand by. Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio. My name is Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. It is Friday, March 28th, and there's so much to cover. How many of you caught this incredible interview that Bret Baier did with Elon Musk and the DOGE team yesterday? Oh, my goodness. That was the best interview that I've seen Bret Baier ever do. It's the best interview that was not a Trump interview, I think, that I've ever seen. I've been thinking this morning, when I watched that whole interview, the Elon Musk and DOGE team on Fox last night, and I was thinking this morning, I was trying to think of an interview that was that good that I've ever seen that wasn't Trump. And I don't mean just Bret Baier or Fox. I mean in general, and that was the best. Bret Baier, who's had more cosmetic surgery than anyone else on television. Does he blink? Are his eyes permanently open, Bret Baier? He looks like everything's been pulled back to the very back of his neck. You know, that little part, we get the little tail in the back. Or he's gotten a face transplant. I don't know. But he does not look like he blinks. It was a great interview. And I was so impressed. I got to commend Fox News. They had great coverage all day. Fox News all day yesterday. They were actually a real news outlet yesterday. Fox News Channel they started the day early, 4:30 in the morning. Fox News Channel was embedded with Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, and the FBI on this MS-13 arrest, and they had incredible coverage of that all day yesterday. And that's why I was watching Fox, and then I saw they were promoting 6 o'clock. Bret Baier will be an exclusive interview with Elon Musk and the DOGE team. And when the DOGE team came on, I was shocked at the DOGE team. I was expecting a bunch of young guys that look like they live off of Hot Pockets and Doritos in dorm rooms wearing T-shirts and hoodies. And what I saw were accomplished software engineers, rocket scientists, and top leaders of industry wearing very nice grown-up clothes. And it really showed how sophisticated this DOGE team that they truly are. One of these guys is one of the founders of Airbnb. I mean, so these are top guys. I mean, I was amazed. Weren't you expecting it to be like kids too? Absolutely. And when I listened to that whole interview, and Bret Baier had them on for the whole hour, and that was awesome because I was expecting him to do a segment or two, save the rest for tonight, and then go to his Fox News panel. And hear the Fox News panel, some agree, some rip them and all this stuff. And he didn't do that. It was the whole hour. It was like the old days of Larry King. We've got Angie Dickinson for the whole hour. Oh, boy, I can't wait, Larry King. But the interview was so good with Elon Musk and DOGE. When it was over, I didn't realize it was 7 o'clock. I'm like, what? I was expecting, where's the panel? And I was about to turn Fox News Channel off. And then, boom, Pam Bondi pops in with Laura Ingraham. So I watched that, too. They did a great job yesterday, Fox News Channel. They really did. If they did that every day, and what I mean by do that every day, be a real news outlet, report news and cover the news, as opposed to having a bunch of pundits tell you what you should think about the news and they only give you a headline, I'd be interested in them again. They did very good yesterday. I was very impressed. Very well. I was very impressed with Fox News yesterday. But the DOGE team with Elon Musk, this group, they are a group of American patriots. Aren't they? They're proud Americans, proud of the country, and they view their work at DOGE, they talked about this, as a patriotic act, like serving in the military. They're serving their country. And the things that they uncover, that they explain, some of them we've heard before, some of them we haven't, or we heard more details on things we've heard mentioned before. Who could be against anything that they're doing? And not only are they brilliant American patriots, these guys have walked away, some of them from multi-million-dollar a year jobs. One guy was running 5 businesses in Texas. Another guy was a rocket scientist. They walked away to do this for their country, to save this country, to save our economy, to end the corruption, end the waste, and get things back on track. And I was so impressed with them. I got to tell you, I was so impressed. And you would be hard-pressed to be able to disagree with anything that they are doing. You know, one of the big takeaways, this was something I had not heard before that Elon and the DOGE team brought up yesterday. Because Brett Baer, they're worried that you're cutting Social Security. And they shared last night one of the things they uncovered that, people call Social Security all the time for different things. But that 40%, it's almost half, 40% of the calls that Social Security receive each and every day are fraudsters. And 40% of the calls they receive are total fraudsters. And what they're doing is they call in and to change the bank account to where a Social Security check is directly deposited to their account. And they're stealing the money from some senior citizen. 40% of the calls are just that. So someone's not getting their Social Security until they get that fixed. And I bet you that's a headache to get fixed. First off, your check doesn't get deposited. How long do they give it until they call Social Security? And how long do they have to be on hold? So 40% of the calls are fraudsters stealing seniors' Social Security. And they're putting an end to that. And that just blew my mind. Senior citizens, Democrats, should be thanking, like I'm doing, like MAGA's doing as a whole, Elon Musk and DOGE. They're making the Democrats, every election, no matter what it is, they always tell you the Republicans are stopping, ending, or cutting Social Security and Medicare. When the opposite is true. They do that every election cycle. But this here, think about it. Think about how much safe and secure your Social Security will be because of the work they are doing. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing these guys are doing that is not a good thing. Everything they're doing is good for all of us. And I remember once Obama, when he was president, Republicans were pushing tax cuts, and he was on he laughed, how are they going to pay for them? How are they going to pay for them? Like the government expenses are too high. Look at the waste that they're uncovering. Did you see this thing? They talked about it, the Internal Revenue Service. They have over 1,000 workers whose only job is to give cell phones and laptops to new employees. And there's only about 4,000 and something employees. So like 20% of the workforce, a quarter of the workforce, are just these people that hand out cell phones and laptops. One of the agencies, was it Health and Human Services? One of the agencies has over 200 human resource offices. All these things. It's duplication and waste. And the list goes on. People go through these lists, and if you keep going through the list, I think it becomes kind of repetitive. But this is stopping. This is stopping. This country has so much money, and it's being wasted on this government waste and the government corruption. You know, and you think about it, I mention this all the time. I go to Miami all the time. My wife has a doctor in Miami. We got to go to Miami. I dread driving to Miami because I-95 into Miami is a road that's about 45, 50 years out of date. Every time I'm on it, I feel it wobbling. It makes weird noises like it's going to collapse because it's one big bridge through Miami. You know, we have garbage roads in this country. And the reason we have garbage roads is because there's so much government waste and corruption and foreign aid. We're not spending money on our own people and our own infrastructure. Right? We're building roads in Ukraine, not Miami or whatever city you're in. You know? And this work that DOGE is doing is so amazing. And I'm glad that they did this interview. And we could put a face onto this mystery team, because the only face we really had was that kid that deciphered that scroll from Mount Vesuvius. Remember that? And he was like in a dorm room. So I was expecting these dorm room geniuses. And that's not what we got at all. We got high-level engineers from all different industries that are very successful in their own industries, and they've walked away from it to save our country, save our economy, and at the same time face all this nasty harassment and villainization that's endangering them for the rest of their lives from the American left. Now, we're going to take our first break of the day. Now, it is Friday, which means it's open phones on Friday. On Friday, you can call in about any and everything on your mind. You're not limited to the topics that we bring up. Monday through Thursday, you are. But on Friday, the show prep is up to you all. We call it Open MAGA Mike Friday. Open MAGA Mike Friday. And our number is toll-free no matter where you're listening. Toll-free 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll take our first break and be right back. Chris asked if the wall's been built yet. Yes. Since you asked. It has been. Mm-hmm. We'll be back in about 4 minutes. If you're on hold, hang in there. I'll go to the phones after the break. Oh, yeah. Yeah, tell me in the chat, yes or no, did you watch the DOGE interview with Elon and Brett Baer? Yes or no? I might play some clips of it, but I was so impressed by it. Now, a lot of yeses, yeah. I asked earlier, too, that a lot of people watched it. Well, if you think about it, someone said, I'll mention this on the air. I won't say, I'll tell you what I was going to say on the air. Just over 2 minutes, we'll be back. Less than 2 minutes. If you're on hold, hang in there. Or if you'd like to call in, if you're watching live, the number is pinned in the chat. This is a break for the radio. Alexander, I heard woke Disney is forcing Marvel to make a movie about a hero with a disability. I'll respond to that when we get back. I saw it the first time, Alexander, you wrote it. Just over a minute, we'll be back. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, guys. And I will be live streaming from the cruise. We leave Sunday, but I'll be live streaming from the cruise. So keep an eye out for me on the cruise, guys. We have the Elon Musk Starlink internet on the cruise. There's already been kind of a liberal woke superhero all of our lives. Who do you think I'm talking about? A woke liberal superhero that's been out there all of our lives, unless you're really old. Who do you think I'm talking about? Yep, I'm all well. All right, here we go. 10 seconds. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to the Steve Kane Radio Show. If you're on hold, hang in there. In the live chat on YouTube, someone during the break had mentioned that woke Disney is forcing Marvel to make a movie about a superhero with a disability. And I really don't care about these superhero movies or anything, but I know a lot of people are talking about that. But there has been a woke superhero that's been very popular our entire lives. Very woke superhero, been famous our entire lives. Do you know who I'm talking about? Give me a call. Let me know if you can. Who am I talking about? A woke superhero that has been a superhero our entire lives. 1-888-465-2631. Who am I talking about? 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. All right. Little stage fright. That's okay. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good morning, Brian. Have a great cruise, by the way.
Yeah, we leave Sunday.
I hope you have a safe and healthy one. Now, here's the thing. I watched that interview yesterday. You know, I'm glad you turned me on to it because I just watched it a couple minutes ago. The biggest shock to me, and should be a shock to everybody in this country, is there's only one bank account for the United States.
That's right.
So that's equivalent to like Brian has a bank account, a savings account, or a checking account, everything in one. Okay. Now his wife has access to it, and Brian has access to it. He goes to the bank and he gets all sorts of safety things so nobody else can get that money. We have so fraudsters can't get in there and take your ID and then start dumping into your bank account, drain it, right? The government doesn't have any safeguards. They got one bank account. Anybody can go into it and take money out of it.
I'll tell you, when the guy said that from the DOGE team, he said that there's only one bank account, and the other day it had $800 billion in it. And I'll tell you hold on a second here. I tell you what I was wondering about that, Richie. That might be classified information, top secret, that the public's not supposed to know, that there's only one bank account, because that is a very big national and global security issue. Because if our enemies could somehow hack that one bank account, the whole world would economically collapse.
I guarantee you, Brian, that there's been a lot of hacking into that account, and that's what they're trying to stop.
It seems pretty dangerous. You know why? Why do they? They have one account, so there's confusion.
Yeah, so nobody knows what anyone's taking out. How would you like to have a bank account and everybody in your neighborhood has access to it, and you don't know what's going on? It's like the father that says to his daughters, "What happened to all his cell phone bill? How come you got all this cell phone? You're charging all this, You know, it's like a surprise to him because he's not watching because he can't watch.
You know, I want you to think about it. In my family, my wife handles all the money, and I think it's that way in most families where one person handles the money, so you have a proper accounting. And when I go to make a purchase, it's not unusual for me to our TV went out in our bedroom last week, so I had to go to Best Buy and buy a new television. And I got there, and I texted my wife, "Oh, which account should I pay from?" Right? You know, I mean, there's everybody has budgeting and accounting in their family, okay? Except and every business, but not the federal government. And the reason for that is so that they can steal.
Yeah, and how about that cave? Now that's a real something. Since 1950, you can't even retire from the government because all your retirement is on paper. Who the hell uses paper today? Who uses?
Well, the thing about the cave. Now, my guess is the reason they started the cave was all the Cold War, nuclear war stuff, and they wanted to have all the papers deep down in this. Why do you think they still use that cave today, where all the records are? Why?
They said it wasn't economically. They said every time they tried to go from paper to digital, it was stopped and it wasn't profitable. They didn't know what they were doing. In government, they don't have people like these people in DOGE that know what the hell they're doing. They hire a bunch of people that don't know what they're doing.
Well, if you remember when Obamacare came around, they hired one of Michelle's girlfriends to build the Obamacare website, and it didn't work. Remember that when Obamacare launched? You know, everything's corruption. That's. How about that money? How about the money going to Stacey Abrams? She's getting all that money, and they found that out. She should be charged for that. But that stopped.
That's ridiculous.
That stopped. But they stopped that money. She didn't get the money. And I can't remember who it was that said it. One of the cabinet told the president yesterday. I can't remember which one it was. Was it Zeldin? Maybe you know. But they went through. She had a whole money laundering thing. Like she was going to get the $2 billion, and there were all these pastors that were going to get a piece that were in the payment chain of this. They found this whole money laundering operation that she had set up.
You know, if the American people actually went on the DOGE website, saw all this stuff, it's not. They're finding all this waste, but they're finding more thieves. I mean, how about the babies that are getting loans of $300,000?
Well, Brett Baer did a great job, but there were some follow-ups I wish he would have asked, because as an example, the youngest was how young? 6 months old, got a small business loan. 6 months old. $300,000. Okay. But the follow-up I'd like to know is who got that money? Are they able to determine where that money went, what bank account it was deposited in? Because there's, that obviously that's fraud. So who got that money?
And it won't be. And who gets the bad credit rating? The baby. And how about the people that at the same time there were people
that's right.
over 100?
Well, that's the thing. If the baby defaults on the loan, they can't collect.
And all these systems are on that one bank account.
But the one thing they shared yesterday, I mentioned this right at the top, that I thought was the most shocking. 40% of the calls received by Social Security are fraudsters changing the direct deposit bank account. I remember when I was younger, there was no internet, guys, okay? And I remember everybody would get physical Social Security checks. And everybody would get them on the same day. So what would happen is the robbers would mug old people in front of banks and grocery stores and stuff and knock them over the head on Social Security Day. So they went to the direct deposit to stop the crime from people getting their Social Security checks stolen. But now more checks have been stolen than ever with the direct deposit system. And that's awful. If grandma and grandpa don't get their check, it's not easy for them to get the deposit switched back to their account. And it's 40% of the calls are just for that.
How about 27 different computer systems that don't talk to each other?
Well, that's on purpose. That's all on purpose. It's confused. I'm going to ask you this question now. I threw this out. You were on hold. You may not have heard this. Someone in the YouTube live chat room during the last break said that woke Disney that they're having a Marvel superhero that's disabled. And I heard a lot of people talking about, oh, woke, they're going woke with our superheroes. There has been a superhero that has been woke our entire lives. Do you know who I'm talking about and what makes it woke?
Jeez, let me think. Well, this is a quickie. I don't have the time to really.
Well, you think if anybody has any idea, call me and let me know who the woke superhero and what makes them woke. And they've been out there our entire lives. So I know everybody's griping at Marvel, but superheroes have always been woke.
Superman. Could he have been woke?
I'm not going to have you just name random superheroes, but who is the superhero and what about them is woke? All right, think about it. And when I tell you what makes them woke, you'll say, oh, yeah, I'll tell you after the break. If you call in during the break, I'll take the calls on it after. But it is Open MAGA Mike Friday, open phones. You can call in about any and everything on your mind. I will reveal the answer to that after the break. Who is the woke superhero and what makes them woke? And one of the supervillains is MAGA. And this superhero and supervillain have been in our lives for all of our lives. So who's the superhero that's woke? Who's the MAGA supervillain? And what makes them woke and MAGA? 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. Now, I don't want people just to name random superheroes, and because there aren't that many, but you got to name the superhero, what makes them woke, who's the supervillain, and what makes them MAGA. All right, we'll be right back. The explanation may surprise you, or maybe it won't. If you're on hold, hang in there. It's a good question. You got to call me on the air. Someone said, Wonder Woman, you got to call me on the air. There aren't that many superheroes that have been around for all our lives. So, you just can't list superheroes and get it right. You got to tell me the superhero, what makes them woke, who's the supervillain, and what makes them MAGA. I think it's an easy one, and the first caller may get it. It's that easy. Been around all our lives. Now, RoboCop's the 90s. I'm talking about like older people. Old as Richie. What makes them, who is the superhero, and what makes them woke? Who is the supervillain, and what makes them MAGA? It's a good question. It's a good one. You can't just name superheroes. There aren't that many. You got to give a name and what makes them woke. I mean, how many superheroes are there, you know? Yoda didn't hit the scene till 1980. No. No matter how old you are in this audience, this woke superhero has been out there. No matter how old you are. Mm-hmm. Got to tell. I'm going to take the calls on the air. And the supervillain and what makes them MAGA. It's really a bad question because I think it's so easy. The first caller is going to get it. It's like 2 plus 2. If you don't know, when I tell you, you'll say, yeah. 2 minutes. We'll be back on the air in 2 minutes. No, Robin Hood's a liberal. He's a thief, a highwayman. He steals from people. The evil rich. No, Robin Hood's not a superhero. Robin Hood's like these anti-Tesla people. Let's see if people get it. I think it's such an easy question. Robin Hood's a very bad guy, yeah. He's a highwayman. He's a thief. He steals from the rich. Steals. And what does he? He's a carjacker. People are riding through the forest on their horse, or there's a maiden in a wagon, and he robs them. Robin Hood comes from. I took a whole class in college on this. I read a great book, Highwaymen and Robbers. I still have it somewhere in a closet. One of my college books. It was so good. And they had a big problem with highwaymen in England, and that's where Robin Hood comes from. Robin Hood is very liberal. He steals from the rich, and he brags about it. But now if somebody says the superhero and doesn't tell me why they're woke and the supervillain and why they're MAGA, I'm not going to tell them. You got to get it. You got to get at least who the superhero is and what makes them woke. Okay? We're back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. If you're on hold, hang in there. It is open phones on Friday, open MAGA Mike Friday. But we stumbled upon this question. I'm going to go to the phones, and this is not one of those questions that makes for a good show because I think the answer is so easy. Someone in the YouTube live chat during the first break was talking. They said woke Disney is making Marvel create a disabled woke superhero, and I had said that there is a superhero who has been around our entire lives who's woke. So who is the superhero? What makes them woke? And I'm going to add something to it. There's a supervillain who's MAGA. So I'll you don't have to call in about this because it is Open MAGA Mike Friday. You can call in about any and everything on your mind on Open Phone Friday. But when I go to the phones, you just can't randomly say the superhero. You have to tell me who the superhero is and what makes them woke. I think the first call is going to get it because it's so easy. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. Once, twice. All right, you missed your chance. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. Randy from South Mississippi.
All right, Mississippi. Speak up.
All right, my two picks. To me, obviously, it's Wonder Woman, and, of course, the Penguin would be a MAGA.
Why would Wonder Woman be woke, and why would the Penguin be MAGA?
Because the Penguin is gangster, and he don't care about anything except for himself. No, picking. I don't know. It's just my two picks. And Wonder Woman, they made several movies with her, and she is in real life a woke person. That's just my two. That's just my two.
Not nope. You do not win. Plus your outlook on MAGA is negative because you got a liberal, anti-never-Trumper perspective. You said the Penguin's selfish, only cares about himself. That makes him MAGA.
No. Brian, listen, I'm President Trump 100%. I'm MAGA over here. I'm just throwing random comment at you this early.
Random? No, I want to. When I tell you guys who the superhero is and what makes them woke, who the supervillain is and what makes them MAGA, I think you'll say, you're right. All right, take care. All right, we'll try one more. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? This guy needs some super hearing. Once, twice. All right. You missed. All right. I'm going to tell you guys in a few minutes if no one can get it. I think it's too easy. I'll tell you guys, if you're on hold, hang in there. I don't want to do a whole show of just randomly taking calls. I don't usually do those types of things on the air. And the reason I don't, people do this on shows that they really shouldn't be on the air, and they use it as a time killer to fill up the phones. And I've heard some shows where they ask questions and callers are calling, and one of the first callers gets the answer, but they say no, no. And I hate when people do that. It's kind of like that episode of WKRP in Cincinnati where they were giving out the prize money and Johnny Fever mistakenly read the whole prize budget for the year for one contest, and they put those songs together that they spliced together that 5 songs, if you guessed the songs, you won the 50,000 or 5,000, whatever it was. I think it was 5,000. And the first caller got like 4 of the 5. Remember that? It's that easy. Okay? It's that easy. But I want to talk about some issues before I get back to that, okay? So what I opened with was DOGE and how proud I was of President Trump that he put together this team. Not only did Elon Musk and that DOGE team shock me because I was really truly expecting a bunch of college-looking students, geniuses. Weren't you expecting that? The kind of guys that live on Hot Pockets and Doritos and Cheese Whiz, if that's still a thing. I don't know. But that's not what we got at all. We got very successful engineers in multiple industries, millionaires, probably all of them. One guy walked away from running 5 companies in Texas to do this patriotic work. And I was so impressed with that and their patriotism and their love for country because, between Obama and Biden, we have been told that there's no love of country anymore in this country, right? That loving America is somehow evil or racist or hateful. And it's nice to see patriotism. But I'll tell you another thing. American geniuses out there. We're the country that sent men to the moon and returned them safely to the earth. And did a whole bunch more, okay? We did that and the other things, right? Remember President Kennedy? We do that and the other things. Not because they're easy, because they're hard. And it's nice to see that we have patriotic Americans and American brilliance and excellence. And without all these wokesters like Jasmine Crockett, who's going around acting ghetto when she's not, okay? It's nice to see what we really have out there in this country. Think about how great this country could be if it was run by real people instead of these actors like Jasmine Crockett. Jasmine Crockett is acting. You know that, right? She comes from a wealthy family and went to elite private schools. I've seen interviews of her where she speaks normally. I played one on the air this week. Was it yesterday, the day before? I played a clip of her she speaks normal. This ghetto act that she's doing right now, she is not some random member of Congress, okay? She's not some random member of Congress who's just out of control and getting this. This is what people are missing about Jasmine Crockett. Jasmine Crockett is a creation of the DNC. This is the DNC's new political strategy to win back black voters. And the reason they're doing it is, yesterday the president withdrew the nomination of Stefanik for UN ambassador because we need her in Congress. We have a slim majority. There's been some special elections. They've been tight. They've been too tight, these special elections, because the turnout has been low. And because these special elections have had such low turnout and have had such thin margins, and Stefanik is from New York, there's a fear that we could lose that seat. We could actually lose the House of Representatives by nominating people to different offices. And President Trump made a very wise decision. And like the team of DOGE last night on Fox News, Elise Stefanik stood up and did the patriotic thing and is staying in the House of Representatives where she belongs because we need her there. And Jasmine Crockett is a very well-coordinated DNC strategy. She is not just some random member of Congress who's going around talking trash. This is how, those of you that are African American, this is how the Democrats view you. Ghetto. If she talks like ghetto and dances, see the videos of her dancing? If she dances and talks ghetto, that's going to attract you back to the Democrat Party. This is like the most racist thing I've seen from the Democrats in a long, long time. After the break, because I don't want to sit here and take calls on it. If you're on hold about this, I don't want to sit here and take calls on the superhero thing, because I think it'll get kind of boring and repetitive real quick after just taking a couple calls on it. After the break, I'll reveal to you who the woke superhero is, what makes them woke, and who the MAGA supervillain is, and what makes them MAGA, okay? When we get back, because I don't want to... I could carry on for an hour taking calls on that, but would that be interesting to listen to? I don't think so. I'll just tell you. And then you can call in and agree or disagree. But first, I want to tell you about my pillow. You know, I packed for the cruise yesterday, and I did pack one of my pillows. You know, I don't get that much sleep because I'm so busy. I got the radio show, my YouTube channel, my podcast, you know, and I don't get that much sleep. I get 4 or 5 hours sleep at night. But those few hours of sleep I get, do I sound well rested? Hell yeah, I do. And I've been up for a long time. And those few hours of sleep I get are well rested deep sleep because I sleep on a MyPillow every night. I've got a MyPillow mattress, a MyPillow mattress topper, and the MyPillow sheets. But I want to tell you something. There's a story in the news today, and huge discounts on all of those with our promo code KANE at checkout, KANE, and free shipping on all orders over $75. So there's a story today about Kohl's. Kohl's is shutting down a whole bunch of stores. And I have not been in a Kohl's since they shut down MyPillow. I was in a meeting the other day with the MyPillow people, you know, and they had a bunch of orders for those box stores, and they let them down again. Can you believe this? They're still doing the cancel culture against Mike Lindell. These stores, Bed Bath & Beyond went out of business, I believe, because they threw MyPillow out. Kohl's is shutting down a whole bunch of stores for the same reason. You know, I went shopping yesterday to buy a few things I needed for the cruise. Every cruise, I usually go to Kohl's. There's a Kohl's near me, and they have really a discount rack. You can sometimes I'll get a shirt over there for like 75-80% off, and it's a good shirt I like, or something, or a pair of pants. But I didn't this time because they shut down MyPillow, and I have not gone to Kohl's since they did that a few years ago, just like Bed Bath & Beyond. And I believe, like Bed Bath & Beyond, Kohl's is shutting down these stores because they shut out Mike Lindell and MyPillow because he's MAGA. Mike Lindell has not laid off a single employee through all this cancel culture. That's because you out there are supporting him. So go to MyPillow.com, use our promo code KANE at checkout, not just for the free shipping, not just for the savings, but it lets Mike Lindell know that his sponsorship of this program is worth it. Every time you use that promo code KANE, Mike Lindell, he's not with us as a charity. So when you use our promo code KANE at checkout, KANE, you're letting Mr. Mike Lindell himself know that his support of this program is money well spent. So make sure you do that. And you can also order by phone, 1-800-716-4879, 1-800-716-4879. Promo code KANE, KANE. All right, now when we get back, I'll tell you about the woke superhero and the MAGA supervillain. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. We'll be right back.
I'll say.
We'll be back shortly, guys. 90 seconds, we'll be back on the air. Now, I just, if you're on hold about the superhero thing, I don't want to do that. I think it gets repetitive because while I thought it was easy, maybe the reason why they are woke is not so easy. And I just don't want to take calls for a whole segment. No, you're wrong. No, you're wrong. Oh, what? I just think that's terminal. I don't like to do those kind of things. But it just came up during the course of the conversation because of something someone said in the chat. So I'll reveal it when we get back. Which kind of goes against the grain of what you do with a live call-in talk show, right? Clear out the board because there's people on hold about it. I saw where it was going, Zane. I talked to a couple of people about it, and I saw where it was going. No, you're wrong. No, you're wrong. Well, what makes them woke? No, it's terminal. That's what I call killing time. People do that to kill time. We're back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. Okay, so I'm going to give you the answer on the woke superhero, what makes them woke, the MAGA supervillain, and what makes them MAGA, okay? And the reason I'm going to, if you're on hold about the superheroes, hang up. It goes totally against everything you think you want to do when you're doing a live call-in talk show. Clear out the lines. But you've got to have quality control. It's like, I don't talk about CBD and marijuana because you start talking, I shouldn't even mention it now, you start talking about marijuana and CBD, all the stoners call in, right? You mention something about a libertarian, all the libertarians call in. There are certain things on the air that fit the definition of what we in the industry call radio death. And a lot of people do these types of things that do shows like this. It's called killing time, and I'm not going to do that. So I'm just going to tell you. The woke superhero, a couple people name them without the reason, is Superman. Okay, so what makes Superman woke? Think about it. Think about it just for a second. What makes Superman woke? He's an illegal alien, right? He's an illegal immigrant, an illegal alien. He's an undocumented alien. In fact, not only is he an undocumented illegal alien, he's like a dreamer. He came to He came to this country due to no fault of his own. He was sent here by his parents on a rocket ship. But, yeah, he's an illegal alien. He is an undocumented alien. In fact, you probably should go to, send him to that Supermax prison in El Salvador. And that makes him woke. He's an illegal alien. An undocumented illegal alien. Literally an alien. And the MAGA supervillain, now that's 100% the truth. Now, the MAGA supervillain's a little bit of a stretch. I threw that one out. That would be Lex Luthor. Because Lex Luthor, his position is, why is Lex Luthor so much against Superman? Because he's an illegal alien. He doesn't want an illegal alien and other illegal aliens to take over the world or the country. So that's what makes Lex Luthor MAGA. Now, I don't know if anybody really would have gotten that, but I just couldn't get myself to go through calls for a half an hour or an hour or maybe the whole show. No, you're wrong. Well, what makes them woke? You understand what I mean? So that's that, yeah. Now, that doesn't mean that every rendition of Lex Luthor is good, okay? Because, Lex Luthor, some of them do some evil things like cause earthquakes and all that stuff. But overall, Superman is an undocumented dreamer, illegal alien. Yeah, that's right. And he's committing identity fraud. How did he get that job at the Daily Planet? What Social Security number did he give Perry White to get that job at the Daily Planet? So he's also committing identity theft like a lot of illegal aliens, using somebody else's Social Security number. And all that Lex Luthor is saying is, hey, I don't want illegal aliens taking over our great country. That's that. Okay, there you go. So that's it. And do you agree with that, guys? It's true. It's true. All right, but let's get back to the issues, because there's a lot of issues, more so than the world of fantasy. So this great interview that Bret Baier did with Elon Musk and DOGE last night, this was, out of everything they revealed, this was one that was new. I'd not heard before, and it blew my mind. This is one of the DOGE team on the panel last night.
I'll say the two improvements that we're trying to make to Social Security are helping people that legitimately get benefits, protect them from fraud that they experience every day on a routine basis, and also make the experience better. And I'll give you one example is at Social Security, one of the first things we learned is that they get phone calls every day of people trying to change direct deposit information. So when you want to change your bank account, you can call Social Security. We learned 40% of the phone calls that they get are from fraudsters.
40%?
Wow. That's right. Almost half.
Yes, and they steal people's Social Security is what happens. Is they call in, they say they claim to be a retiree, then they convince the Social Security person on the phone to change where the money's flowing. It actually goes to some fraudster. This is happening all day, every day. And then somebody doesn't receive their Social Security. It's because of all the fraud loopholes in the Social Security system.
Okay, I mean, that blew my mind when I heard that. And, the thing about these seniors, with the direct deposit of the Social Security, grandma and grandpa, everybody knows when the check's coming, right? It's connected to your birthday, right? So how long after they don't get the check do they realize it's not coming? It depends. It depends on how with it they are, right? Depends on how alert they are. Depends at what stage of elderly they are. Do they have dementia? Do they have slight dementia? Was the check supposed to come on Monday? Did their birthday fall? Is their birthday falling on Sunday and it's supposed to come on Monday? By the time they realize that the check's not going to be deposited, a lot of time could have gone by. And then how many seniors are not with it enough or have the support network to get the number and call Social Security? Probably a lot. And then when you call Social Security, How long are they on hold? And how do they verify they are the true recipient and their money's been stolen? And when they get somebody on the phone, do they give them how long does it take to get that deposit that they missed? Right. I mean, this is really bad. 40% of the calls are fraudsters. And, it's an interesting thing. The fraudsters know how bad the system is so that they can take advantage and steal this money this way. And I'd mentioned earlier in the show, they started, it used to be when I was a kid, everybody got a check. And it was the same time every month. Was it the first of the month? I can't remember. And back in those days, I was a teen. This is like the 80s. I can remember all, because, I remember this happening a lot then, but it went on before that. The senior citizens would get mugged. Some followed home and mugged. Some mugged in bank parking lots because the muggers knew that what day the Social Security checks came. So they'd steal their check, and then they'd go to, I guess, somewhere, check cashing store, liquor store, and cash it. I don't know how they did it, but they did it. And the direct deposit was supposed to stop the thievery that was going on with people getting their Social Security checks stolen. Well, it stopped the violence because not everybody gets them on the same day anymore. It's connected to their birthday, and they're not getting the check physically in person. But more Social Security is being stolen now than ever because of this antiquated system. And this is a very important thing to point out. A lot of you remember when my wife, her grandmother once got mugged for her Social Security check when my wife was a kid. Okay? And a lot of you remember those days. Seniors, yeah, that's the way it was. And when these Democrats are griping about the Social Security and they're cutting Social Security, they're saving seniors. They're saving seniors Social Security literally just on that one example. All right, 1 hour down, 2 to go. It is Friday. I cleared out the board. We had a board of superhero callers. My name's Brian. We'll be back right after this. So what do you guys think about my superhero analogy? Do you agree with the woke Superman? Illegal? Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. Hour number 2 has begun. Callers on hold. Stand by. Now, again, today is Open Phones. We call it Open MAGA Mike Friday, and you're welcome to call in about any and everything on your mind on Friday's show. You're not limited to any of the topics or news stories that we bring up. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, good morning, Brian. This is Lenny from Coconut Creek.
Hey, Lenny.
First, I'd like to say I'm glad to see you doing better.
Oh.
I've had food poisoning. It's not a good
Well,
thing.
I got lucky.
Wherever
I got,
you
on the other day, I ate some bad hamburger. It was really bad. And Dr. Appleton and Tom Laporta both texted me on how to handle that situation. I took both their advice, and
Well,
I'm not going to tell you what they told me because you could figure it out, but it worked.
Probiotics.
I'm not going to tell you. But it worked, and it worked instantly, almost. So anyway, what's on your mind, Lenny? Appreciate it.
Well, that interview yesterday was one of the best interviews I've ever seen.
DOGE. What makes you say that? I had the same reaction. You're talking about the DOGE interview by Brett Baer.
Well, those individuals, each and every one of them are true patriots, and just like Musk, he doesn't have to do what he's just. Both Musk and Trump, these are professionals that had multi-million-dollar businesses.
Well, I'll tell you now. You know what it kind of reminded me of. What it really, Lenny, you know what it reminded me of? The Right Stuff. This is a team like the original Mercury astronauts, or this is the Right Stuff right here. It was so nice to see American brilliance. Now I'm sure the left are upset that they're all white.
Well, the fact that what they're uncovering, this isn't just something that just happened yesterday. This has been going on for decades, and what they discussed about the student loans, infants. It was something I left with such a good feeling that this country is we're moving in a direction, and everything that they spoke about, if this had not been established, this country would be bankrupt. And
well, think about all the money that we spend in taxes. Most Americans spend 50% of our income in taxes. Income taxes, payroll taxes, gasoline taxes, property taxes, sales taxes, right? Tolls on the turnpike, and every time we want a tax break, they say, well, there's too much, the country can't afford it. This country could probably run on about 10% of what it runs on right now.
Mm-hmm. A friend of mine lives in Oklahoma. He does, security work. I've done security work, and working, from 7 in the morning to 7 at night. I worked, I did home security in two synagogues, one of which had their own catering hall, and on Friday and Saturday, they would have wedding bar mitzvahs, and at 7 o'clock on a Friday or Saturday, I would, get a call from, the office to tell me, do you want to, work an extra, 2, 3, 4 hours because of the wedding or the bar mitzvah.
Yeah.
And this friend of mine that called, we speak almost every day, and he obviously somebody didn't come in, and he normally works 8 hours, but for the past 3 days he's been working from 12 to 12, and yesterday he said they asked him he worked at 2 o'clock in the morning. I said, wow, that's 14 hours. And the one thing he was concerned, he says, I hope you don't kill me in the taxes. And unfortunately, everybody is, breaking their backs, doing what they're doing. And, I hope to God,
Well, what they
Trump
said, the Treasury Secretary said Trump's goal is no income taxes on people making under $150,000 a year, and that's probably single people. So married couples, it might be like 300. Here I remember when I was in high school, I worked at Publix. I was I bag boy, stockman, cashier, everything, and I worked there actually when I first started working in radio. I worked there part time while I was first working in radio as a board op. And
Right.
I don't know what Publix does now, but this is like the 80s and the, till like 91 or 2-ish. They used to do every 3 months, it was 3 months or 4 months, I think it was every 3 months, they did inventory at the store. And that's how they determined how, each store. And when they did inventory, that's how they determined how much money that store had made in profit. And they gave bonuses. And the full-time employees would get like, I can't remember if it was 1 week or 2 weeks pay for their bonus. I couldn't believe it.
Right.
And the store manager at the time would get 3 times whatever the full-time workers got in a bonus. And I was a part-time worker, right? I'm a high school kid. Part-time workers, we got an 8-hour bonus. So you got a check.
Uh-huh.
You got it. I don't know what Publix does anymore. This was a long time ago. And it was a good company, and I'm sure they still are. I don't know if they still do this. If anybody from Publix knows, let me know. But if you got an 8-hour paycheck, you got paid for 8 hours, whatever you were getting paid, but you didn't work it. And it was like every 3 months as a bonus. And I remember, what I remember about that is the bonuses were taxed more than my regular paycheck. There's something about, there's something about overtime and bonuses that there's a higher tax rate on these. And one of the things President Trump talked about doing was eliminating the tax on overtime because it's a more severe tax. And I can remember getting so upset because, I was so excited. And then I cashed the check and it was like, it wasn't what I was expecting. And the way that I describe it, the Democrats view Americans as an organism that excretes money for them. Right? Like, in the Matrix, people were in those little things of that pool of things to generate body heat to power the Matrix computers. Yeah. They view us as like a single cell organism who excrete money for them to do all these things that DOGE is exposing. And it makes me sick. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, and eliminate income tax on those making under $150,000 a year. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. And the government can afford it because they're wasting so much money on this waste and corruption, and on foreign aid.
Well, between the waste and the interview with
Brett Baer.
Bondi.
Oh yeah, that was great.
Brett, from Brett Baer directly into the interview with Bondi, and listen, like you said, I think it was one of the best interviews that Fox News. It reestablished, because Fox News has kind of gone a little to the left, and there was so much positive, this Chinese guy that.
Well, think yesterday. Like, look at yesterday. But if you're on hold, hang in there. Look yesterday. I had Fox on all day yesterday, because of that MS-13 arrest. Right, Fox News was embedded with Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, and the FBI for that M13 arrest. That was at 4:30 in the morning. They busted in that guy's house. Remember the Biden FBI? Right. They were busting in with CNN to Roger Stone's house. They got a rapist, murderer, drug dealer, human trafficker yesterday. And what did the Biden FBI bust into with CNN? Political opponents.
Yeah, really.
We were a police state a couple of months ago.
Uh-huh. Yeah. No, I've never felt more positive in the direction where this country's going.
Indeed. Indeed.
Especially the head, the leader of, living right, for what the,
Well, look at the neighborhood look at the neighborhood Tony Soprano lived in, or John Gotti. Remember John Gotti lived in a normal middle class neighborhood. That's why. And remember that the guy ran over his kid who was playing in the street. I mean, that's where this is the modern day. This guy is probably a bigger criminal and has a bigger organization than Gotti. But he's one of the dreamers. He's one of their dreamers. He has a dream to rape and pillage America. Yeah. That's his dream.
Well, you're doing a good job of, that's why I appreciate your show.
Well, listen, I got to run, Lenny, but thanks for the call. All right? Lenny from Coconut Creek. That's right. And remember, if you're in Coconut Creek and you drive east of the Turnpike, roll up your windows and lock the doors, okay? It's a whole nother neighborhood on Coconut Creek Parkway. I mean, that's, All right, if you're on hold, hang in there. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian. And, of course, Sunday, we're leaving on our cruise. And it is, the reason these cruises started is so that I could get a vacation. The first time we did a week-long cruise was the first time I had a week off in 20 years from the show. Isn't that something? That's right. The last time I had a week off is when my daughter came home from the hospital when she was born, and she was 20 when we took that first week-long cruise. We've been doing these cruises now for 10 years. 10 years. That's right. That's right. It's amazing. And Coastal Weight Loss Secret, I went over there and met with Dr. Zuckerman on Inauguration Day. Remember we had our inauguration party at Wings Plus? I got off the air and I went to meet with Dr. Zuckerman at Coastal Weight Loss Secret before I went to Wings Plus. And I'd gained some weight since the last cruise, guys, okay? And he said, and I told him, I said, I got this cruise coming up and, we're going snorkeling, we're going to the beach, we're hanging out at the pool, we're having a great time, and I gained some weight. He says, well, how much weight do you want to lose? And I said, well, 25 pounds. And he said, well, when's the cruise? I said, March 29th. He says, no problem. I said, Doc, come on. That's a lot of weight, man. He said, no problem. I lost more than that a month before the cruise. Oops. Sorry, guys. I dropped something. It's live radio. I knew it was going to fall, too, but I couldn't save it. But I'll pick it up during the break. And you can do the same thing. No exercise, no prescription, no Ozempic, none of that. And I'm eating the normal foods that I like. I ate at Culver's day before yesterday. I ate yesterday at Chipotle, the same places I always eat at. No medications, no exercise, and I lost the weight. And you can too. Now, if you want to lose less, you want to lose more, you want to lose 50, you want to lose 100, 150, you want to lose 20 pounds, call Coastal Weight Loss Secret. When you call, make sure you tell them you heard about them on the True Oldies channel. The number's 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightloss.secret.com. We'll be right back. There we go. Save the day. If you're on hold, hang in there. That was one of the lights I have that fell. I'll go back to the phones when we get back. We'll be back in less than a minute. Okay, I got everything put back together now. I reached over to try to grab it, and what had happened is I'm at my home studio, so my kittens, Coca-Cola and Pepsi, jumped. They jumped up on the desk, knocked the light loose. It was getting ready to fall, and I went to get it, and boom, it just fell. They won't be coming around here anytime soon. They scared the daylights out of them. Welcome back, one and all. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. Our number, 1-888-465-2631. It is open phones every Friday. We call it Open MAGA Mike Friday. The show prep is up to you guys on Friday. You can call in about any and everything on your mind. You're not limited to the topics that I bring up on Friday's show. The other 4 days you are. But on Friday, any and everything that's on your mind. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Terry, Florida.
Hey, Terry in Florida. What's up?
Hey, why you so hard on Superman, man?
What?
You know he was just a baby when he came. I say, why you so hard on Superman? He was a baby when he came.
Oh no, I'm a big fan of Superman. I think the greatest superhero movie ever made was Superman the movie, with the great Christopher Reeve and Margot Kidder, and I got to hang out once with the actress that played General Zod's girlfriend in Superman 2. I'm a big fan of Superman, but he is an illegal alien who is in the country without documents and falsified Social Security. What?
But check this out. His parents that were here were legal. Okay. He was just a baby when he came because his plan was destroyed.
This is why I changed the topic real quick, because I saw where the show was going. This is one of those radio death things. You're talking about a fictitious character and talking about ridiculous situations involving a fictitious character. Do you have something real to talk about?
No, I just wanted to, say, why you putting the baby down? He ain't have he didn't know what he was doing. You know what I mean? So, he was just a baby.
Okay.
But
no,
anyway,
he was brought here due to no fault of his own. His parents put him on a rocket.
And besides, he saved the world. He's saving the world. You're going to judge the man
this is your typical liberal. You live in a fantasy world.
Yeah, right. No, but I'm just saying, this man saved the whole world. He was saving the planet.
No, he didn't save the world. You're aware none of that happened, right? That's fiction. I mean, did Captain Kirk save the world with the and start? All right, give me a break. Oh my goodness. See why I changed the topic? I saw where that was going, and I'm like, this will destroy a show. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, it's Mike from Houston. How are you?
Hey, Mike.
Hey, I just wanted to, I've been away for a few weeks, and I know it's Freeform Friday, so I want to ask you a quick question. I don't know if you've been tracking it, but, there's this group of genius-level, subversive, trans, domestic terrorists. I think they call themselves the Zizians or something like that.
The Zizians? I've not heard of the Zizians, no.
Oh, okay. This is like something out of a fiction novel or something, but they are responsible for a double homicide in Pennsylvania, the murder of a witness in California, and the murder of a Customs and Border Patrol officer up in Vermont back in January.
Let me ask you, because let me just ask you, because I really don't know about this group. I mean, the Zizians with a Z. I'll look them up.
Yes, sir.
Are they like a small group, like the Manson family that are going around the country causing mayhem?
Yes. almost just like the Mansons, just set in the 21st century, where all the guys are girls and all the girls are guys. Okay, and so yeah, there's a family, but a couple of them got caught up in Vermont. They were being tracked for a couple of days. Border Patrol decided to stop them. There's a shootout, and the CBP officer is killed in the process. Okay, they're responsible. Apparently, one of the members' parents were killed in a double homicide, so they're linked to that. And they killed a witness out in California. Now, what I'm getting at is, I'm given to understand that the FBI has rolled up the rest of this network. And by the way, these people are all like 160 IQ and above, this kind of thing, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right? So they're like these genius. Okay, but what I'm getting at is, do you think there's a connection between this terror network and the Tesla vandalisms that have just come out of nowhere in the last, what I'm getting to understand, the last couple weeks?
I don't know. This is the first time hearing of the Zizians. I looked them up while you were talking, and you know, Wikipedia is so insanely left wing. This NPR lunatic was praising the Wikipedians. Remember on one of her on her TED talks?
Yeah.
I looked up Zizians, okay, while you were talking, and this is the first thing that came up, and it's from Wikipedia. The Zizian, listen to how they describe them. The Zizians are a group of rationalists allegedly involved in 6 violent deaths across the United States from 22 to 25. Rationalist? What does that mean? That's on Wikipedia. They're calling them rationalist? What's a rationalist?
Yeah, exactly. That's some kind of like philosophy.
That's
term,
newspeak. Newspeak from George Orwell.
Yeah, to me, yeah, I can't really. Again, they all identify as trans, and I don't know what their.
No, to me, I would say no. I would say, while there may be some crossover of agreement, I think now again, I know nothing about the Zizians other than this Wikipedia sentence of what you told me. They sound like a group of lunatics, like a cult. You know, like the Hale Boppers. You know, they're a cult. Like the Manson family, and they're going around, they're sociopaths. So far as this 160 IQ, I don't know who determines that. Did they sit down and take an IQ test, or is that just...
Well, it seems like a large portion of them are like computer science graduate students and stuff like that. And
but one of the Zizians, but there's some stories that come up about the Zizians, because again, this is I've never heard of this before. And there's a picture of a story yesterday. He looks like the guy, that Asian guy that got arrested with the Tesla thing in Vegas. But this is something else. A data scientist who reportedly followed an extremist group known as the Zizians pleaded not guilty to murdering an 82-year-old in Vallejo landlord.
Vallejo, yes, that's them.
That's
them.
Yeah, he looks almost like the he's a fat Asian guy with facial hair and long girly hair. He kind of looks like the Tesla attacker, but no, I think you got two different types of people, two different groups.
Good. By the way, the New York Post has a pretty good article on it. I don't remember what the date was, but when you have time before you go on your cruise, if you want something, it reads like something out of a science fiction kind of novel. It's just so weird, but you're right. It's almost like a 21st century spin-off of the Manson family. But on that note, hey, I just want to say I'm been out of the country, so I just got back.
Where were you? Where were you?
Italy.
Italy.
The hardships of retirement. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
But I'm totally out of sync. My body clock's totally. But what I'm getting at is coming back and listening to your show makes everything right. I mean, it just. Love your analysis, love your insight, and, just love your show, man. And like I said, it's not home without being able to turn on your YouTube channel and listen in the den. So,
well, I appreciate that.
For the show.
All right, take care. All right. Oh, if you're on hold, hang in there. We have hit the halfway point. It's time for a bottom of the hour break. It's the Steve Kane Show. By the way, Steve's been off for a while. He will be on the cruise, and he will be back on the air after the cruise. Okay, he's got some things going on, but he'll be back. He'll be on the cruise on Sunday. In fact, he's coming with his wife and one of his sons. And Steve Kane will be back on the air the Monday after the cruise. We leave on Sunday, we come back the following Sunday, and he will be back on the air then. All right, my name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. Calls on hold, stand by. We'll be right back. We'll be back soon, guys. And don't forget to follow me on X, Brian Craig Show on X. You know, my Twitter got hacked last month, and Elon Musk got me my Twitter back. And I thought it was gone. And I even started a new one, which I'm keeping. But this Brian Craig Show on X. And I was glad to get that back because that is the Twitter that Eric Trump follows me on, and a bunch of other celebrities. Scott Bay, a bunch of celebrities follow me there. That video there, that's me at the Tesla Democrat event last week. Brian Craig Show on Twitter, on X. Ten seconds. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on this open MAGA Mike Friday. Any and everything on your mind is fair game on Friday's show. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. This is Bill from Sanford.
Hey, Bill.
I want to let you know that the overtime that Trump's doing First of all, overtime was not set up as a punishment. It was set up where you were, depending on your dependents, you would have to not pay any taxes at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So in other words, they don't know whether or not you're going to be making $250 a week, and then now you make $275, and they want the taxes so you don't owe money at the end of the year. Now, depending on your dependents, like as far as I've been working, I had 3 kids. I put 0 dependents, which means they took out more money, which means I got the money back.
Yeah, but you could afford that. A lot of people can't. You know, a lot. You know, I saw today, I saw a story online this morning. It was an 82-year-old woman working as a waitress. She can hardly walk, and she can't afford to be retired. Most people aren't like you that can put 0 deductions, no dependents, and pay. You're unusual for an hourly worker.
Well, I mean,
What did you do? What did you do for work that you could afford? What did you do for work that you were paid hourly?
Well, first of all, I was a payroll clerk, so I know how that worked. When I did the payroll. So that's at that time, it wasn't on the computer. You had a pamphlet from the government, from IRS, and it states on there: single, married, married with 1 dependent, 2 dependent, whatever you declare, because you could declare 10 dependents, and that doesn't mean you have 10 kids. You can declare 10 dependents.
Oh, sure. I get what you. Now listen, it is Open Mega Mike Friday, but talking about accounting and payroll. Ugh, I'd rather take the calls on the woke superhero.
Let me ask you a question. When Trump says no tax on overtime, all that overtime pay, is that going to be deducted from the gross earnings?
I don't know, but people are taxed at a higher rate on overtime than they are on their regular payroll.
Well, yeah.
That shouldn't be. You know, people work overtime. You know, this is the thing, right? Most people, especially hourly workers, they work overtime not because they want to, but it's because they have to, right? You know, they need the money.
Yeah.
And that overtime money is not money that they're just going to put under the mattress. They're going to spend it on gas, on groceries, on clothes for their kids, on So people are being punished for working harder.
Yeah, but they still have to pay taxes. Back in the days, you had to pay taxes on that.
Well, President Trump, listen, people the no tax on tips and overtime, for the most part today, in today's economy, most of those people do not pay any income taxes. They pay payroll taxes, which are different than income taxes, okay? You know, like me, I've got to pay income taxes and payroll taxes, okay? It's a lot. But most hourly workers do not pay income tax. They pay payroll taxes. Right. So when tax cuts happen, they don't get a tax break ever because they don't pay income taxes. So this is the first time that overtime workers and hourly workers, this is the first time they're getting a tax cut ever. And the amount of money that they're getting in their tax cuts are life-changing. Life-changing.
Well,
I remember once I was somewhere and there were these 2 women were working there. It was a retail store. And one of them was talking like, "Oh, my car's been on E since Wednesday," and it was Friday. You know what I mean? So that no tax on tips and overtime, that's a tank of gas. Or maybe a week. For people, it's life-changing money.
But the ones that do pay taxes at the end of the year, you may have to owe the government money.
Doubtful for these people. Doubtful for these people. And a lot of the tip workers these days are Uber drivers, Lyft drivers, Uber Eats, and DoorDashers, okay? And they get a lot of tips. And the tips are done through the app. And most of those people have an LLC. They have a corporation, most of them, if they're smart. And so not only are they going to not pay taxes on those tips, they can, they got deductions, so it'll help them too. It's a win-win.
Well, that's completely different. That's completely different. I agree with that 100%. No tax on tips. that means they don't have to, it makes the employer easier for them to do it.
Well, listen, I'm gonna run, but I appreciate the call because he's talking too much from the payroll. That's for the meeting at the payroll department. Human resources is. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Conservative Doug.
Oh, hey, Doug.
Well, two things. Number one, did you see that airline finally admitted that they've been spraying into the atmosphere for climate change or some kind of nonsense? I don't know what they're spraying.
I don't know what. No, tell me what you're talking about. No.
I don't have the name of the airline, but this, as you see the jet streams going by, like it looks like the
chemtrails. The chemtrails.
Yeah, the chemtrails. Yeah, chemtrails. They finally admitted that that's what they're doing for climate change or something.
Well, why were there chemtrails like in the 60s and 70s and 80s before the climate change thing became a thing?
Oh, I mean, there is trails from the jets, just from condensation from the jets. But these people are spraying crap into the atmosphere for what reason, I don't know, other than wasting a lot of taxpayer money. But they're spraying us. And I've been wondering, why is it that I have a black car? Why is it when it rains, I have, normally the rain would clean the car. I have spots. So something's in the atmosphere that's not right. I don't know what it's doing to us, but I'm hoping now they finally figure it out and cut it out.
I'll tell you this second term of Trump, it bookend, with this senile old woke regime we had. Think about how great this country would be without Democrats and their garbage. Did you watch the Bret Baier interview with Elon Musk and DOGE?
No, I missed that, man. I wish I saw it.
Oh, you missed a good one.
Man, I missed that.
You missed a good one. I mean, I appreciate the call, Doug. Yeah, it's open phone, so chemtrails is fair game. Let me give you an example. This is Tim Walz speaking to a group yesterday. And he just had a big political event that was organized by the CCP. Did you see this? This is Tim Walz, who thinks he's running for president or something, talking to a group of delusional Democrats yesterday.
That our strength is our diversity. We've been talking about this for years as a country of immigrants, and we let them define the issue on immigration. We let them define the issue on DEI, and we let them define what woke is. We got ourselves in this mess because we weren't bold enough to stand up and say, you damn right we're proud of these policies. We're going to put them in.
Okay, now I love that Tim Walz he's fighting to become the face of their party. This is what I've been telling you. The Democrats have convinced themselves of something that's disastrous for them, which I'm very excited about because it helps us. They think that they lost to Trump because they're not woke enough. So they're trying to go woke times 10. Okay? And keep going woke. Go more to the woke, please. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yo, I got the same name and spelling as you. How crazy is that, man? Yeah, I'm down in Philadelphia. I just got a simple question for you.
Here we go, Mike. Yeah.
Yeah, no, what do you think of the forced labor camps?
What forced labor camp?
Oh, yeah, the one Christy just did a promo of them.
Oh, you talking about the prison? Well, first of all, are you going to work today?
What?
Do you go to work today?
Am I going to work today? What does that got to do with the forced labor camp?
You'll find out. Do you go to work? Do you have a job?
Well, no, because I'm homesick.
Did you work yesterday? Do you work next week? Do you work tomorrow? Do you have a job?
I'm going back to work Monday because I'm not going to be sick Monday.
Okay, you're going to go back to work on Monday. Come on, this is another. No, I'm going to get to the four.
Answer the question.
See, I am answering. Excuse me. I am answering your question, just in a more intellectual, sophisticated way than your liberal mind is accustomed to discussing. Okay.
No, buddy, I'm not a liberal.
Right
I'm
now,
from Philadelphia.
Why do you think?
Philadelphia.
I don't care where you're from.
We don't do the liberal conservative thing here. We just steal.
Well, wherever you are, wherever you are, you don't have.
What do you think of the forced labor camp?
I'm going to hang up on you. I'm going to hang up on you if you don't stop talking. I'm trying to have a conversation with you. Don't be sorry. Just stop talking, and I'm having a discussion. Now, right now, why do you think I'm doing what I'm doing? Like here talking.
I don't care.
No, think about it. Why am I doing this? Why am I talking right now and doing a show? I'm on the radio. I'm on YouTube. Why am I doing that?
Can you answer my question?
I am answering your question, okay? Mr. Low IQ, you just are too stupid to understand that I'm answering your question. Why do you think?
Yeah, well, no, I am low IQ. So
you didn't have to tell me you're low IQ. Yeah, you didn't have to tell me you're low IQ. It was very obvious. Why do you think?
So what's the answer to my question?
I'm giving you the answer, dum-dum. Why do you think I'm doing a show right now? Why am I doing a show?
Because it's a sexual fantasy of yours. You're jacking off while you're doing the
Okay,
show.
there you go. Okay, dump button first time of the day, Mike. Okay. Oh my goodness. I'll tell you why. Okay. I have to work. I've got bills to pay and a family to support. Okay? Now I've got a great job and career, okay? But I'm here and I'm working because I have bills to pay. And I do a lot of shows, right? The radio show. I'm on YouTube all the time. I have my podcast, which, by the way, I learned my podcast is in the top 1.5% of all podcasts in the world. That's right. I'm in the top 1.5%, which the lower the percent, that's amazing. So far as popularity and listenership, my podcast has exploded in popularity. Brian Craig Show podcast on all podcast platforms. So why don't I just do one show? Why am I doing shows all the time? Why am I doing a radio show, YouTube, a podcast every day of the week? I'm going to be doing it on the cruise, because I've got to make money. That's what I do for a living. I've got to support my family and pay my bills. So I am, because of that, forced into labor. Are you at work? Are you going to work? Did you just get home from work? Are you doing that because it's a hobby? Or are you forced to go to work to support your family? So we're all into forced labor. Very few people are working by choice. Elon does. President Trump does. They're billionaires, right? Elon could be the first trillionaire, right? He's the richest man that's ever lived, richest man in the world. But we're all into forced labor. Did you get coffee and breakfast at McDonald's? Are those workers there because they like hanging out at McDonald's and serving customers? Or do they have to go? That's forced labor. So we're all forced to work if we want to eat, unless we're born rich with a trust fund or something, right? Very few people are working because they want to. Most people are forced to labor. That's what I was going to explain to that guy, but, All right, we'll take our break. If you're on hold, hang in there. The delay has reactivated. After that, we'll be right back. Hey, Barry, it's Brian. Hey there, hold on. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. It's time to check in with Attorney Barry Siegel from the Siegel Law Group. Attorney Barry Siegel, good morning.
Good morning. How you doing today, Brian?
Good, good. So Sunday we leave on our cruise, and I got to tell you, when I go on our cruises and I'm socializing with our listeners, every single one of our cruises, there's multiple listeners that are on the trip that are just singing your praises from the high seas about what a great job you did for them every cruise, and I love hearing those stories, guys.
Well, thank you. It's nice to hear that, and thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Today, I just wanted to talk about the fact that assets, when you leave your assets to your loved ones through your estate plan, there are two ways that you can do it. You could either leave the assets to your beneficiaries outright, or you can leave it to them protected. Outright means it's unprotected. So the assets that you've worked for your whole life and that you've saved and that you allocated to your beneficiaries when you're no longer here could be left unprotected. When I say unprotected, unprotected from what? Unprotected, one of the big ones is from the divorces of your children. So if your children get divorced at some point after your death, a lot of times the assets that they inherit, even if you leave it to them in their name, they will deposit it into a joint account with their spouse. And now that those assets are commingled, and when there's a divorce, and the divorce rate is very high, it's nearly 60%. If there is a divorce, there's a good chance that at least half of those assets will go to your future ex-son-in-law or future ex-daughter-in-law. And otherwise, you could set it up so it would be protected. It would go to the child or whichever beneficiary you're leaving your assets to in a way that it's protected and isolated, so it would not be in a joint account. It would not be part of a divorce settlement. It would be your child's money. And that's not to mention that there are other protections as well when you do this. This is the bloodline protection we've talked about.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very important to make sure that if you have children that are married or you're concerned about them potentially losing it because of creditors or lawsuits, you may want to talk to us about bloodline protection.
Yeah, and I would bet. Hold on there. I would bet, Barry, that the divorce rate is a little higher after an inheritance. And, windfall cash can cause all kinds of problems. And I'll tell you another thing, too. They inherit the money, and the next thing you know, the wife wants a new kitchen, right? You know what I mean? The money that the money that you worked hard and saved and sacrificed for all the years, you don't want it to be lost in a divorce. You don't want it to be lost in a lawsuit or just windfall, ridiculous spending, Barry.
Yeah, you make a good point, Brian, that sometimes an inheritance could become a divorce incentive.
Yeah.
Let's say the marriage is not in a bad place, but it's not going great, and all of a sudden, the child who lost their parents now receives this large inheritance that got commingled, and then the other spouse gets the idea, well, gee, I can get out of this so-so marriage and essentially get a bonus for doing it financially. So you're right. It could be a divorce incentive.
Yeah, and when I talk to our listeners that are clients of Attorney Barry Siegel and the Siegel Law Group, I often tell you that all of them have pretty much the same story in different ways, that a weight has been lifted off of them, because all these things that we're talking about are things they worry about, and they work hard, they built something, they saved something, they scrimped, they saved, they didn't take vacations, they went to the early birds, and then the money could get blown in a month after they're gone, and people are worried that their whole legacy will be lost that way. And I'll tell you, if you go to one of Attorney Barry Siegel's workshops, you'll see that every single scenario is well taken care of with the Siegel Law Group. It amazes me. Give the Siegel Law Group a call. Now, remember, it's a no-charge consultation with the Siegel Law Group if you mention you heard Attorney Barry Siegel on the program. The number is toll-free, 855-FLA-3782. 855-FLA-3782, and online, SiegelLawGroup.com. All right, Attorney Barry Siegel, I'll talk to you when we're back.
Okay, have a great time. Thank you so much.
All right, take care. All right, our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. That last caller about the forced labor, I wish he would have stuck around and not... What he did is what I call a lifesaver. He was over his head, so he did something forcing me to discontinue the call, which is use vile language that you can't say on the air. But this thing about these El Salvadorian prisons, they call them forced labor camps. This is a new talking point from the left. He's not the first liberal I've heard say that. I saw Christy down there. Didn't look like they were doing much labor to me. Looks like they were hanging out there. And they may be doped up. I don't know. They seem pretty calm. But all prisons should be like that. Those El Salvadorian prisons, that is the model of prisons. And, you know, if the American prisons were like that, could you imagine how much the crime rate would drop? Oh, man. The number one deterrent for crime is the fear of prison. But animals, these Al-Qaeda violent level people like are in El Salvador's prison, okay, they're not afraid of that because they're like Al-Qaeda people. They're scary guys who were violent, and they're not afraid of violence in prison. But there's something about these prisons in El Salvador that terrifies them. You know, and I hope that the left continue to advocate for these invader terrorists from Latin America to not be imprisoned so people can hear what they're all about. You know, that MS-13 arrest yesterday that Kash Patel and Pam Bondi went on with Fox News with the FBI, that was an amazing arrest. You basically got the leader of Al-Qaeda. He was in charge of MS-13 for the whole east coast of the United States. That may be one of the largest organized criminal leader arrests ever made in the history of the United States. You know, back in the days of all those big mafia arrests, there's no way that the most famous mafia guys of all time, including the Gotti, had a crime empire as large as that guy. Not an individual one, there's no way. In fact, this guy here from MS-13 may have had more under his net than all of the mafia families combined at their height. This guy was that bad and that powerful. You know, and it's really scary how young he was. The guy's in his 20s. How do you think a guy in his 20s is leading a group like that? It's because he's killed a lot of people. A lot of people. Now, some of them may be other MS-13 members. We don't worry about that. But these guys are responsible for the worst of the worst crimes that humans can actually commit. And while Fox News did just great coverage all day long, they had this story all day. They were embedded with them. And I was watching Outnumbered yesterday because I had Fox News on in the background all day because of this MS-13 and everything. And I was watching Charles Payne on Outnumbered. And I got to tell you, Charles Payne needs to give up those suits. You know those suits, those suits look like? He looks like in the Hunger Games with the clothes that the people wore in the Capitol in the Hunger Games. He looks ridiculous in those suits. But I like Charles Payne. But those suits have kind of become his thing. So I think he kind of feels obligated to wear these funny suits. But Charles Payne, he was the one lucky guy on Outnumbered yesterday, and he had such a funny line about this MS-13 arrest. And for something to be funny, for a joke to make people laugh, there has to be some truth to it. The little rule of humor, guys. And they showed a clip of Kash Patel at the press conference of what they did. And Charles Payne said, it's not that there's a new sheriff in town. There is a sheriff in town now. And I thought that was such a smart thing that Charles Payne said yesterday. We've had outlaws running this country that have allowed outlaws to do crime. And the worst of the worst crime. In fact, they've been bringing people in. As an example, let me play this. This is Rochester, New York. There's been some ICE arrests there, and some local police in Rochester, New York are in trouble. Listen.
Good evening. I'm Matt Malloy. The actions of multiple RPD officers under review tonight. The mayor says when Border Patrol officers called for backup on Monday evening, several city officers responded, and in the course of helping with the traffic stop, they violated the terms of Rochester's sanctuary city status.
Okay, so there's a group. I want you to think about this. In Rochester, New York, there's a group of police officers that are about to be disciplined, and maybe even fired, because they answered a backup call to ICE on a traffic stop. That's what's been running this country. You cannot have a sanctuary city for criminals. You don't have a right to say, this city, this is a sanctuary city for bank robbers. This is a sanctuary city for murderers. This is a sanctuary city for kids. You can't do that. And when someone from law enforcement gets a radio call, even from another agency, for backup, they're not supposed to quit. Well, our state, the sanctuary city ordinance, that's illegal. We can't. No backup for you. You can't do that. You go give backup. And this is this story in Rochester. I hope this gets a lot of coverage. These poor officers answering the call for other law enforcement from another agency on a traffic stop, which police officers have told me the traffic stops and domestics are some of the most dangerous. I would think the traffic stop's the worst. You don't know who's in the car you're rolling up on until you get there. And you don't know what they got in there. And they got a little bit of home field advantage, including the fact that they're behind the wheel of a deadly weapon, their vehicle. But that's the warped mind of the left. 2 hours down, 1 to go on this open phone, open MAGA mic Friday. My name is Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. Call us on hold, stand by. We'll take our break for the top and be back. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll be back in 1 minute, guys. 1 minute. Yeah, I'm getting a haircut this morning for the cruise. I'm pretty much all packed. Just got to pack a couple of more things. Bought a new pair of shoes yesterday. Back in about 30 seconds. If you're new, make sure you subscribe and follow. And I will be live streaming from the cruise, guys. So keep that notification bell checked too. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. It is Open Phones, Open MAGA Mike Friday. We've had some good calls today, and the show is flying by. Less than an hour to go. And if you're on the line, stand by. But before we go to the calls, I want to tell everyone about Jupiter Joe Thomas. Joe was in here in the studio yesterday. We had a great conversation. And, one of the things he shared with me this week, a couple of things he shared. He came in twice this week, Joe Thomas, and he told me a couple of things that were amazing. That your annuity is protected from creditors. I did not know that. That's amazing. And he also talked to me about the income stream. You can take the income stream monthly or set it up any other way you want. And he said most people do it monthly because people have asked me about that. And that money, you not only have your money protected from stock market losses because no matter what happens in the market, your money is safe, your nest egg is safe, but you want that revenue stream in your retirement, and you can have that come in every month if you want. And that's a great way to help pay your bills and your HOA dues and just have a good time and go golfing or get your hair done or go on vacation, whatever you want to do. And that's a great thing. Now, Joe Thomas offers free phone consultations to our listeners, which you can take advantage of no matter where you are located. And he'll ask you a few questions and put together a custom proposal for you. Everyone's different. You have different goals, different income, different things you need money for, different things you want to accomplish. He will put together a custom proposal just for you. And ask him about that bonus that you get on day one, which is amazing. His number is 561-743-0999. Give Joe Thomas a call and turn your money into guaranteed income for the rest of your life. 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. And if you missed the number, just go to his website, jupiterjoe.com. Okay, to the phones we shall go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. Once, twice. All right. You missed out. Oh, here we go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, good morning, Brian. I'm Chris from Pompano Beach.
Hey, Chris.
Good. I'm glad you brought that up, this sanctuary city, because that's certainly not getting enough coverage throughout this country. But that's a perfect example of how ridiculous all this is. And what they're doing is, come on, for harboring criminals, they're going back against what they're traditionally.
Well, in Rochester, they're getting ready to. In Rochester, New York, they're getting ready to discipline, which could lead to termination of 2 officers who answered a backup call from ICE agents. Since when do police officers turn down requests for backup? That's frightening.
Exactly. Listen, this is public safety, and that's why this whole America First. I don't know why these morons, are going away from anything to do with taking care of I won't say our own, but they're sworn to protect and serve. It's public safety. And they're trying to tell me that takes priority over keeping the taxpaying citizens here, whether it's Rochester or any other sanctuary city. I don't know how they came on board with that. It's just absolutely ridiculous. What do they gain from putting American citizens in hard risk like that? So
these Democrats, look what they're doing. They're firebombing Tesla dealers and everything else. These are sick, twisted anarchists on the left.
I have no respect for any of them that support that whatsoever. They're too stupid. They're such followers. They're being told and sold, and they don't realize that they're going against what everything they believe.
Pam Bondi, she said no plea deals on these Tesla terrorists. And they're getting locked up. I appreciate the call. Take care. He's always a good caller, Chris. All right, I've lost track of the order in which the calls were received, so I apologize. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Mark from Jupiter.
One second. My phone is ringing off the hook here. Let's see here. All right, go ahead. Mark from Jupiter. Go ahead. What's on your mind?
Hey, Brian. I was absolutely riveted by that DOGE interview. I never saw a room full of such intelligent, focused people, and I went to bed last night knowing we are in great hands. And that's all I need to say about that.
Well, when the way I described it at the top of the show at 6, when I was waiting for that interview all day, and when they came on, I was in shock because I was expecting a bunch of guys that look like they live in a dorm room wearing hoodies. I wasn't expecting senior engineers and multimillionaires that lead massive multi-billion-dollar companies, like the co-founder of Airbnb.
Yeah, that was impressive. That was really impressive. The way he took the microphone, he was so direct, so resolute. And I'm excited for what they're going to be able to do for Social Security and make it easier for those. I mean, it's quite the opposite of what's being, ranted from the top of the rafters that they're going to take this, they're going to take that. I think the opposite. I think people are going to end up being, having greater benefits and easier way to access them. I think more people are going to be able to tap in than are presently.
That's right. I know. Well, another way I describe, I was talking to a caller earlier in the show, and I said when I saw them there, it was so impressive to see. These are patriots. These are patriots like a special unit in the Army. Okay, these are American patriots, and they're brilliant. And they're like the right stuff.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, there are stormtroopers. I'll tell you what. I'm glad they're on our side.
Well, we're on the side of truth, justice, and the American way, not the side. And and Elon Musk, he said, I learned from PayPal, the ones who complain the loudest are the fraudsters. He says the loud complaining is a tell, and of course he's talking about, Schumer and all these creeps.
Absolutely. I mean, it's been evident for years. I don't know why. Maybe it is evident with some. They just want to, preach the opposite of it. And I'll tell you what, great interview. We were great hands. Things are looking good. Everybody just relax. It could be a little painful for a very short period, but it's going to get so much better.
Mm-hmm. All right. Take care. Take care. More wisdom from Jupiter. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, it's Brian from Philly again.
Now slow down. Now slow down. You're new to the show.
Yo, okay.
You're new to the show. It's one call per show, but you're new, so you get the 2 calls today. But normally it's 1 call per day. But no profanities or vile language.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
Gotcha. All right. But I listened to your answer though
about the labor camp.
I didn't quite understand it. So you're pro forced labor camp?
What I'm saying is all of us are forced to work. Like you say, you're going to work on Monday. If you don't go to work, you can't pay your bills or eat. So you're going to force labor on Monday.
So you're pro forced labor camp, though, is what you're saying.
Well, I don't know what forced labor camps you're talking about. I don't know what you mean by that.
The ones in El Salvador that like Christy was promoting.
You're talking about the prison filled with murderers and rapists?
Yeah, the forced labor camps in El Salvador.
Well, you keep saying forced labor camps. I didn't see them doing any labor. They seemed like they were just hanging out, most of them in beds in the cells. But what?
Because the folks that run them say they force them to do labor in there.
So what? Well, then don't listen. Sammy Davis wrote a great song. It was the theme to Beretta with Robert Blake. Do you remember Beretta?
Well, no, I don't really care about Beretta, but I'm just like saying.
Oh my goodness, this is another short school bus guy. Sammy Davis.
Yeah, no, my school bus is very short. I got to tell you, man.
Yeah, I know. All right, I appreciate the call. If you call again, I'm going to have to ban you. It's 1 call per day. You're new. I let you in the second time. Sammy Davis and the theme for Beretta. Remember the song lyrics? Don't do the crime if you can't do the time. All right? These guys are the worst of the worst criminals. I don't care if they got to do some work. I got to work. They got to work. It's like these people that are against the horses in New York, pulling people in carriages. Why do the horses don't have to work for their feed? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, my name's Matt. I'm calling from Central Florida. I'm pre-colonoscopy, and I just stumbled across this. What's the current topic?
Well, I am not going to run by a buffet of topics that I've discussed over the last couple of hours. If you have something on your mind that's relevant, I know that after that weak attempt at some kind of humor, it's open phone, so you can talk about anything that's non-pornographic or profanity-laced, and we'll see.
Okay. Well, I mean, what was the topic you were going over? Was it the Rochester thing?
Watch the show, listen, and then call in about something that inspires you. I'm not here to just take a random call and throw issues by you. What is this, a pitch meeting? This isn't a pitch meeting. What do you think about this, caller? What do you think about that? No, that's not what I do.
Well, no. What were you currently talking about?
It is open phones on Friday. We've talked about a lot of things, but most of it, the lunacy of the left, the terrorism of the left, the immorality of the left. You and your friends.
No, I'm just here to. I thought this was open discourse.
Pick a topic that I've been talking about, and we'll have a discussion. I'm not going to run topics by you to see if you bite.
So the Rochester thing. Rochester thing.
Well, what about it?
The Rochester thing. So have the police union stepped in yet?
This just broke last night, so I don't have the updates on that. The police union is probably just as liberal as the rest of the city of Rochester, New York is.
But police unions will typically step in to protect.
Well, what's your opinion on it? What's your opinion on it? What's your opinion on it?
So, I know you were saying that if ICE called them, then they should be underneath ICE's jurisdiction, but that's not always the case.
Oh, my goodness. You're in Central Florida. Where in Central Florida are you?
Hey.
I'm in Florida. Where I'm in South Florida. I'm in Palm Beach. Where are you?
That's cool.
Where in Florida are you?
If ICE steps in, that doesn't mean...
You can't tell us where in Florida you are. You're not even in Florida. Listen here. ICE... Excuse me. ICE.
I'm calling from an 813.
Oh, okay.
I'm calling from an 813.
Okay, whatever.
Dumb fuck.
All right, there we go. Dump button again. There you go, Mike. Second time. If you're on hold, stand by. As he used the F word. There you go. Oh my goodness. This program holds the record. We've even beat Howard Stern in the days of his radio days. On the number of times the dump button is used. And, a few months ago, maybe a year ago now, Dr. Appleton, one of the 7 times he rid me of pain was arthritis in my finger. And this is not a joke. It's so true. The finger that I use for the dump button, I developed arthritis in. No other finger, just that one. And in every studio I've worked at during my entire broadcast career, the dump button has always been on my right. And there's been a couple times where they put it on the left, but I've asked them to move it to the right just because, it's easier, and I use it so much. I use that button almost as much as the on and off button for my mic. And I have used the dump button so many times over the years from these liberal, vile callers with their profanity that it caused me to get arthritis in my index finger. And when Dr. Appleton, and it was very painful. It was very painful. And Dr. Appleton examined me. He's like, "You've got arthritis, Brian." And I said, I'm done. I'm done. I mean, I got arthritis in my finger. That's it, and I can remember my grandparents having arthritis in their fingers. It was the worst. It was the worst. He says, no, the laser wave pain treatment treats the arthritis. And not only did he treat my arthritic dump button finger with his laser wave pain treatment, my arthritis pain is gone, and it hasn't returned. And I don't remember, was that 6 months ago? Was it a year ago? That's amazing. And when he told me that I had arthritis, I'm gonna turn next month. I'll be 54. When he told me I had arthritis, I thought my life was over. Because what I remember about arthritis with my grandparents is they get more of it in more places, and it's bad, and it hurts, and it sucks, and it's painful. But I don't have that pain anymore because of Dr. Appleton and his laser wave pain treatment. Give him a call. And remember, appointments are not necessary, and walk-ins are welcome, even on Saturdays. 954-973-0710. Give him a call and say bye-bye to your pain, just like I've done. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. We'll be right back. If you're on hold, hang in there, guys. We'll be back shortly. Oh. You can really hear when these Democrats call me how sick they are. They really do have mental illnesses. They got the language they use is just bizarre to talk to people like that. You call a show, you start using the F word and pornographic things. It's bizarre. Just low-class mental patients on the left. You know, this is the only program anywhere that takes live, unscreened, unvetted calls. No one else does this. No one. And that you and these liberals, it's an opportunity to take a MAGA guy to the woodshed, and they can't control their language. We'll be back in 1 minute. I'd love to talk to these people about issues. I mean, how many of you go to work because you want to go to work? We're all forced to work. Unless you're rich, super rich. And then you can choose. But that guy did give me a good lead in for Dr. Appleton, didn't he? Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. If you're on hold, hang in there. You know, maybe, I don't know, maybe we can run this by, Mike, maybe we can run this by the sales department. You know, a lot of radio stations, sometimes you'll hear they'll get a sponsorship for the studio. This is the such-and-such studio. Maybe we could get the dump button sponsored by Dr. Appleton and his laser away pain treatment. It's not a bad idea. I was just thinking that during the break. What do you think, Dr. Appleton? Every time we use the dump button, you know, the dump button brought to you by Dr. Philip Appleton and his laser away pain treatment that I can use since he rid me of arthritis in my dump button index finger. I don't know. Okay, let's go to the phones. Open MAGA Mike Friday. We've had some pretty good calls today, but have you noticed how unglued these liberals are? I mean, the way they talk is just insane. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, good morning, Brian. It's Bob from Port Charlotte, Florida. How are you?
Hey, Bob. What's up?
Happy Friday, sir.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I have a question, and I'm hoping you can give me an answer on it. As an American, I can sit here and say that I support my fellow Americans, but at times I don't trust my government. I can say that I don't have a problem with the Russian people, but I don't trust the Russian government. But if I say I support the Jewish people, but I may not trust the Israeli government, you can be labeled as anti-Semitic.
Yeah.
Where did we move from a situation where you have to embrace what a government does, or you are against?
Okay. There's two types of people that don't support Israel. Okay. Do you know what the two types are?
Well, you have the like the Nazis, the people that are anti-Semitic and they hate Jewish people for
That's
being
okay.
Jewish.
Okay, one.
And then,
Yeah, correct. Hold on. One is correct. Anti-Semite. There's two groups of people that don't support Israel. One of them are anti-Semites, and what do you think the other group is?
I don't know. What would the other one be?
People that are uninformed and don't understand the issues.
Okay, there you go.
And I'm gonna explain. And I think you're in the second category. I don't think you hate Jews. I just don't think you understand the issue.
No, I don't hate Jews at all.
No, I said I don't think you're anti-Semitic. I just think you don't understand the issue. Why does Israel exist?
Israel is the land that God gave the Jewish people, and Israel exists because we carved out a piece of, they gave them back their land in the middle of the Middle East.
No, okay. I'm not talking, yes, okay. Jews are indigenous to Israel. We know this because the Bible tells us so. But Israel as a country, as we know it today, was established in 1948. As the Jewish homeland of Israel was established by President Truman in the UN in 1948. Why?
Why did he create Israel?
The UN and Truman, yes, in 1948. Why?
I don't know why they.
Well, see, okay, so I'm really glad you called, because I'm not making fun of you like some of these wackadoodle callers. Because when I said to you, there's two types of people that don't support Israel, anti-Semites, and people that don't know or understand the issue. You fall into just don't know, which is fine. I don't know everything, okay? The reason I sound so smart is because I only talk about things I understand, okay, and know about. Israel was established in 1948 because of the Holocaust of the Second World War. And before the war began, the attacks on the Jews were already beginning by the Nazis. And as the war began, it got worse. But many Jews tried to flee Europe so that they weren't killed, and no country around the world would take them, including the United States would not take Jews trying to flee Nazi-occupied Europe. So after the world saw, the government knew what was going on, but they kept it a secret. After the world saw the horrors of the Holocaust, Israel was established so that the Jews would have a safe place to go and escape from if somebody else came along and tried to kill all of them. That is the state of Israel. Okay?
So they carved out the state of Israel to allow Jews from abroad to go back to their homeland for security.
Yeah, as a response to the Holocaust. That's right. So Israel is surrounded by the modern day Nazis. You know, in the Second World War, there was a lot of Second World War fighting in North Africa, right? You're familiar with that? Okay. Yeah. Okay. The Allies invaded North Africa. Have you ever heard about the Nazis invading North Africa? Rommel? Never. Okay. Now why? Now the reason Rommel, you just know about the reason that Rommel, I know they had Dunkirk, but you don't hear anything about dramatic invasions and battles other than Dunkirk at the end of that, because the Muslims in North Africa, the Middle East, welcomed the Nazis in. They welcomed the Nazis in. The modern day Nazis are the Muslims, and they're trying to finish the Holocaust.
Because they had a shared belief that the Jews should be exterminated.
Well, yeah, but the Muslims today still believe that. The Muslims today still believe that.
I absolutely 100% am with you on what you're on that.
So Israel is there to to have the Jews in a place where they could be safe from extermination, which the Muslims are trying to do.
Agreed. I'm with you there.
Okay, so now you support Israel?
I didn't not support Israel, but I think that it is a rational belief that while you can support...
No, it's not. It's a rational belief if you're an anti-Semite who... No, it's not rational.
Just allow me to... hold on a second. Allow me to finish what I was saying. I support the Jewish people, but I think it is to say that you cannot question the motives of the Jewish government.
Okay, what are you questioning Israel on?
Well,
give me a specific.
So here's one. I believe on 9/11, our government did have an idea of what was going on 9/11. We have the most experienced...
Okay, what's that got to do with the Jews?
If you'd allow me, just let me finish and I will tell you. So we have the CIA, the FBI. I believe our government knew. They are the most intelligent, the best intelligence agency on the planet, followed by, if not led by, Mossad, who was number one. I believe that they knew what was going on. So to say that a government can't do the wrong thing at certain times and questioning it out, and then you are labeled anti-Semitic for questioning a government.
Well, you're questioning the American government, and George W. Bush and Dick Cheney are evil men who will burn in hell, and they very well may have known about 9/11 in advance. But what have the Jews done that you're taking issue with? I asked you that. You're telling me what our government's done.
Okay. What I believe that the Jews have done, or the Jewish government has done. The Jewish government has allowed at certain times the Palestinian, the terrorist situations to escalate where they could have stopped it because it gives them the ability.
Israel sadly uses too much restraint. Okay. They use too much restraint, and I'm going to tell you guys, there's a new movie out. It's on the Paramount. I believe it's on the Paramount app. It's about the Palestinian terrorist at the Munich Olympics. Go watch that movie, okay? Israel has a very powerful military, and they're a nuclear power. They could wipe out all the Muslims, okay? And they don't. They use restraint. All right, listen, I'm late for the break, but hopefully you'll think about our call and maybe you'll start supporting Israel. We'll be right back. It's called September 5th. Yeah, that's the name of the movie. This show has flown by. I mean, there's less than 30 minutes left. I mean, this show has flown by. Now, when I get back from the cruise, starting in the second week of April, I'm going to add an hour to the program in the morning. So we're going to be 4 hours. Now, that I'm only going to be on the radio for 3, and then I'm going to do another hour. That'll just be here on YouTube. So plan accordingly. I think it's April 14th. Hey, you're all welcome to call in. You can see the calls are totally unvetted. You can call me about any and everything. So you don't have to complain about what I'm saying or doing in the chat or critiquing me. You're welcome to call me on the air and call me out on the carpet like these callers have been doing all day, if you notice. If I didn't want people disagreeing with me, I wouldn't have open phones. I don't have to have open phones. That's a choice. Yeah, the number is pinned in the live chat. There's one opening on the board. One opening on the board. See, now you can see why I turned it away from that superhero discussion. Much better show since I got away from that. You got to have some quality control. I know, it's that old argument. I'm not anti-Semitic. I'm not anti-Israel. I'm just anti-Zionist. It's the same thing. You just don't have a deep enough understanding to understand the issue, or you're anti-Semitic. I mean, that's just like Candace Owens is an anti-Semite and a Holocaust denier. Every line on the board is lit. We'll be back in 2 minutes. The full board of calls. See, Israel is in a constant state of war. They're always under attack from the Muslim world. But a lot of people like Mark Dice and Candace Owens have sadly brainwashed some of our good conservative and even sometimes MAGA people with not understanding the situation with Israel. They just don't understand it. No, I'm not Jewish. Oh my goodness. I'm Catholic. Candace Owens is a hardcore anti-Semite and a Holocaust denier. She was denying the Holocaust a few months ago. Yeah, you're all welcome to call in. Every line on the board is lit right now, so full board of calls. Less than a minute, we'll be back. Great calls today. I love being challenged. You do not have to agree with me to call. All right, 10 seconds. Welcome back, everyone. I took that break really late with that call. We are back, and the show has flown by. Every line on the board is lit, and I've lost track of the order in which the calls were received, guys. My apologies. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, Jay from Jersey.
Hey, Jay. Yeah, you're on the air.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to, but I can hear you.
You probably don't. Okay, you do a lot of research and looking for things. I'm just curious if you ran across the fact that they took this woman's autistic son that has an autistic tattoo on his arm. He's 20 years old. He was taken over there to that country, to that prison. How you feel about that? That's what I want to hear about.
I don't know anything about this story, but why is he violent? Is he a
How
violent
come
criminal?
You don't never come up with nothing like that. No, he's an autistic 20-year-old. Ain't never been in trouble in his life, and he's an American.
And
Now, what do you think about that?
I have no opinion on it because I don't know anything about it. I've not heard that story.
But if you did know something about it, what's your opinion? If you
I
think
would
an
have to
American
know.
child-
I would have to know more about it. I don't trust. You're not a trusted source of news and information.
You believe?
Let me look at. I'll look at.
everything
Okay,
that's
I'm going to Google it while we're talking. What do I look up? to find the
You
story.
look at there was on the news last night, a 20-year-old autistic child taken over to that prison. I don't
Autistic-
know what to put that in.
I'm going to say man, because 20 is a man. Autistic man taken to El Salvador prison. Okay, is that okay? Autistic man taken to El Salvadorian prison. Is that okay to Google?
Yeah, try that.
Okay. I found an article, NBC News. Okay, Venezuelan tattoo artist. Does that sound familiar?
I don't know if he. I don't remember.
I don't think he was autistic. I think he.
See what you find.
I'm going to read the story, but I think you've got your words messed up. He's a tattoo artist.
No.
He's artistic, not autistic. But let me read it.
No, he's not an artist.
Were it not for bad weather, Jean Shashin, I'm not sure how to pronounce his name, would have been aboard a flight to his native Venezuela, having volunteered to go home after giving up asylum. Instead, his brother said he was among nearly 300 Venezuelan men sent to El Salvador's mega prison. He spoke to his brother on the day after he was supposed to have returned to Venezuela because of bad weather. They couldn't board the flight, John said. John, age 35, was crying and told him he was scared because he was seeing unusual movements by staffers at the Texas detention center where he was being held. He's a tattoo artist. I think this is the story.
Why are you skipping the part that he's no?
It doesn't say autistic. It says he's a tattoo artist, which means he's artistic.
Okay, then you're probably got. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
This is another one. This is a
makeup artist.
A makeup artist.
They got the makeup artist. They got a makeup artist, and they have an I called you about the makeup artist the other day. This is an autistic 20-year-old.
It came up an artistic guy, a tattoo artist. You have artistic and autistic confused.
Where's he a criminal? Which part of it says he's a criminal?
Well, he's in the country illegally.
No.
I mean, I'll look. Okay, what do you want me to Google? Tell me what to Google, and I'll Google it.
Listen to this. Even if he was in the country illegally, do you think he should go back if he's never been in trouble? Do you think he's supposed to go back to a prison where he can never get out, or should he been sent back to his country?
Well, I don't.
Which way is he supposed to go?
Well, everything you started your call with about this guy was wrong. So now you're making up scenarios. All right, I appreciate the call. I mean, you know, he did this before. He had autistic and artistic messed up, and he's done it again. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the.
Scott.
Yes, Scott.
I'm calling from Kansas City.
All right, Scott. What's on mind?
I listen to the news as much as I have time for. I'm pretty busy. I wish at 65, I wish I could take it easy, but I keep working.
All that forced labor, yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because who knows how long I might live.
That's right.
Anyhow, I do want to. I've only seen the DOGE interview in glimpses and in passing, and I do want to look at that. But something else concerned me, and I haven't heard it on your show or from others, is that this new Prime Minister of Canada wants to break relations with the United States. What have you heard about that? And is there anything?
Well, what I say to that is, who cares? Canada has never had relations with us. Since the American, you know, when the 13 American colonies broke free, declared independence, and formed the United States, there were more than 13 British colonies in the Americas. There was a 14th colony. Do you know what the name of the 14th colony was?
I've heard that name, but it was up further north, and that's all I know.
It was called Canada.
Oh, that one.
Okay,
No,
and
yeah,
Canada was the 14th colony. Okay, and Canada sided with England then. Okay, so they've all and the British Army launched attacks. They tried to take West Point through Canada. There was even a battle in Canada, what the Prime Minister said, so they've always been against us, okay, since then. And the Prime Minister said yesterday they're suspending relations with the United States, so they're going to be allied with with England and France. They've always been allied with England and France. Canada's always been they've always been with England against America. Even in the War of 1812, they fought against.
Even in the Civil War.
Yeah, even in the Civil War, and Quebec thinks they're French anyway.
Yeah.
So he just came out of the closet for what they really are.
Yeah. Yeah, I just wish at the end of the Civil War, because Britain sent and helped the Confederacy with their navy.
Do you know what Canada? Do you know what Canada is without the United States?
It's there's not much of it that's actually occupied. It's
nothing. They're nothing. They're nothing. They're on our coattails, stealing from us since 1776.
Yep, they basically leech off the United States, and most of Canada that is inhabited and does stuff is around the Great Lakes, and that's not much of an area.
80% of Canadians live within 150 miles of the U.S. northern border. 80% of Canadians live within 150 miles of our northern border, and I know that because when they had the Winter Olympics in Canada last time, they were talking about that. I remember Donald Sutherland was walking out, because he was Canadian. He was walking out with the flags for the Olympics on the ice or something there. And I remember the commentators said that at the time. That's where I heard that. All right, I got to run. I appreciate the call. All right. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll be right back. Hey, I want to just remind, next week we're on our cruise next week. So we'll be off next week, and then we'll be back a week from Monday. No, we won't be live, like we do every year. And we, remember we recorded some messages for you that we play when we're on the cruises. Those are the ones that'll be playing next week. All right, great. Hold on. Oh, almost didn't make it back. I'm so far behind on the breaks, and the show's almost over. Full board of calls if you're on hold. 30 seconds. We are back, and it's time to check in with William Youngerman with the final gold and precious metals report of the week from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated in Boca. William Youngerman, how the metals ending the week?
The metals are ending very, very strong at all new record high prices.
Wow.
Yesterday we saw gold gain $36.10 after trading in a range of $3,031 all the way up to $3,062, closing out the day at $3,056.60. Silver was up 76 cents at $34.36 the ounce. Platinum gained $11 at $9.84, and palladium was up $10 at $9.62. Overnight, we see gold trading in a range of $3,070 all the way up to $3,081.40. And right now we are at $3,080 the ounce. That's up $23.40 and a breath away from $3,100 gold. Silver up 14 cents at $34.50. Platinum gaining $1 right now at $9.85, and palladium up $8 at $970. So it looks like probably while you guys are cruising on your cruise next week, we'll be looking at $3,100 gold with probably easy and little effort.
Well, we'll have some drinks in celebration at sea. I don't know what's driving it up, but I mean, this is just my layman opinion. Are the big banks buying up lots of gold? Why is it going up so high right now, do you think?
Yeah, there's a strong pull on central banks buying gold and big powers to be loading up. There's also been a huge exit from the stock market that a lot of people aren't aware of. and that money is going either into treasuries or into gold, and we're seeing that also. Flight to safety right now.
Oh, well, gold's always safe. So now, right now, is the Australian 1 ounce coin, is that the best buy where you get the most gold for your money right now? Is that what you're recommending?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, but all the coins are available for immediate delivery at William Youngerman. So if you had, the American Goldie, whatever you're into, whatever you like, whatever your favorite is available. William Youngerman opens up at 10 a.m. If you can, stop in. He's located at 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca, on the first floor of the Bank of America building, just east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto Park Road. When you go into the building, William Youngerman's shop is in the lobby directly across from the bank inside the lobby. You can't miss it. You can do all your transactions over the phone no matter where you are in America or the world as well, and through the mail at 1-800-327-5010. 1-800-327-5010, and find William Youngerman's address and phone number on his website, williamyoungerman.com. All right, William Youngerman, we'll talk soon. Thanks so much, and have a great weekend.
Okay, you too.
All right, back to our busy phones, but first I want to tell you guys about Sloman's. When I'm gone on the cruise, we leave Sunday. No matter where we are, Dominican Republic, Virgin Islands, and I forgot where else we're going. But no matter where we are, if there's movement in the front of my house, I'm going to get a notification no matter where we are on my cell phone, because I've got that doorbell camera. And you can get a free doorbell camera from Sloman's with the installation of your Sloman Shield. I'm going to give you the number in a moment. But not only can you get the free doorbell camera with the installation of your Sloman Shield, Sloman's is also going to give you a free customized home security system and professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. You get an LED touchscreen, a motion detector, 10 contacts, a lifetime warranty, a backup battery, plus you'll get a free doorbell camera with the installation of your Sloman Shield. Give them a call, 1-800-ALARM-ME. 1-800-ALARM-ME. That's 1-800-ALARM-ME. All right, back to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. This is Nick out of Baltimore.
Hey, Nick.
And I wanted to. Well, I'm glad you're feeling better.
No, thank you.
Listen, I watched that interview last night. It was fantastic. I like what they're doing.
The DOGE interview with Brett Baer. That was the best interview I've ever seen, ever.
Yeah, I agree with you. And just very quickly, having worked there, worked with a bunch of really dedicated people with Social Security, and there's I'm still friends with a lot of them, and still talk to them. And I will tell you that they're right about the paperwork. It's just a lot of what they're going to do is make it more efficient, and they're going to streamline a lot of things, and it'll just be run very well.
And cut out all the corruption.
Well, that's true, and a lot of the corruption they're cutting out comes from these darn government contractors, and I saw it firsthand myself. And I told you the story about the waterless bathrooms. There were other instances, too. The leaky roof. Every day they were working on the roof, and there were these big buckets in the hallway.
Yeah.
I slipped and fell a few times. But, I mean, what were they doing? And we're talking about hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars wasted. And it's not the rank and file. It's the government contractors.
Well, I don't know about the rank. It depends on who you mean by that. I think like USAID, I think they're all corrupt. Whoever's in charge of dispersing the funds at the Treasury Department, I'm really short on time, Nick. So I'm gonna try to get through as many calls before the end. But you make some good points. Thanks for the call. Let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, B and Brian. Hey, brother Brian.
Hey.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Hey, man. Bon voyage. Have a Grey Goose Finland or Grey Goose vodka with the cranberry and Red Bull. Now, you got to listen to
cranberry. Wait, Grey
just...
Goose, cranberry, and Red Bull. Okay, that sounds good.
Hey, and whatever they put on the twist lemon lime, whatever you guys do. But Steve can tell you sometimes you don't have to talk to some people, but you can. And like with Jay in Jersey, look, when Trump said, look, we're not getting the best, and they're sending in animals. Now you see the animals in the cages. Okay, These are the people that, and even if there was a mistake made, that they accidentally took an artistic, not an artistic, because he's a moron. He didn't do it.
I could not believe with that. But there's a lot of wind noise. So I got to let you go, IB. But
I'm good now.
Okay.
I'm good now.
Oh, he rolled up the window just as I was hanging up. But when that was Jay from Jersey, when he called in, I asked him who else would do that live on the air. I said, "What do you want me to Google?" And I said, "Autistic man deported to El Salvador." When that Google search came up and said tattoo artist, I was like, "Oh my goodness!" I mean, so he got artistic messed up with autistic. You can't make this stuff up. I mean, my goodness.
That was funny.
Oh my goodness, I couldn't believe it.
The animals are back in the cage, okay? When these guys are raping less than 9-year-old and 1-year-old kid, Tom Holman has to go to sleep at night, man. I don't know how he holds it in, okay? Think about what Tom Holman has to go through, seeing those pictures every day when he's in Congress, and he has to have all of that inside of him. These are not the people that we want here. Don't forget about 160 countries. What about all the other people? They always want to talk about the Latinos, Latinas. What about all the other people in this country? Okay, DOGE. Look at this. Bottom line, we can have everyone in this country have a house and a Mercedes-Benz like the Sultan of Brunei gave all of his people in his dominion.
That's true.
That's the kind
all
of
right.
money
Hey,
that
IB,
we're wasting.
I'll talk to you when I'm back from the cruise. All right. Now, I want to tell you guys, next week we will not be here live. It'll be best of. We'll be back a week from Monday, live on the air. Steve Kane will be back. He's been off lately, but he's got some things going on. But he will be back live after the cruise. Steve will be on the cruise. He's coming with his wife and one of his sons. And I'm looking forward to it. We leave on Sunday. But I will be in touch through YouTube and maybe even my podcast while I'm on the cruise, guys. So keep an eye out for me. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Brian. It's Sandra from Delray.
Hey, Sandra.
I listened to that interview. Hi. I listened to that interview. It was wonderful. But the most important thing was when Musk said, "I am not angry at the people that are doing the fires and so forth. I'm angry at the propaganda." Now, I have a friend who's liberal. She tells me when I said, "I'm so happy the education department is going back to the states." She said, "Then it's becoming privatized and you're going to have to pay for education." I said, "Are you nuts?"
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, look it up. I'm telling you that the propaganda out there is the fault of
it sure
the whole
is. You're right.
going on.
You're right. Appreciate the call. I want to tell you guys, there's a story today that Kohl's is closing down 27 stores this weekend. 27 Kohl's stores are closing. Kohl's, yeah. First it was Bed Bath & Beyond, now Kohl's. Why are they going out of business? I'll tell you why. Because they threw out Mike Lindell and MyPillow. That's exactly right. With our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, you can save up to 80% off, support Mike Lindell, support this program, and also get free shipping on orders over $75. I packed yesterday for the cruise. I'm almost completely packed, and I've also packed my MyPillow. And, man, I love that MyPillow. I sleep so well every night. I sleep on the MyPillow. I've got a MyPillow mattress, a MyPillow mattress topper, and the MyPillow sheets. And there are great discounts site-wide on all of them. So go to mypillow.com and use our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian from Deerfield.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, Brian, how are you? Brian, because I make the phone call quick, one of the things I like to look at politically are inflection points. And I'm looking at this Democratic Party now, and all I see is corruption and zero common sense. Do you think there's an event out there looking down the road a bit?
There's another thing too. There's a third one because Elon brought this up last night to Brett Baer. They're inciting violence, right, against these Tesla owners and Tesla. Elon said that they're shooting bullets in the Tesla dealers. I had not heard that one.
Yeah, I did. I heard I think it was in Texas. I think they were shooting bullets.
Oh my goodness! I thought they were against guns.
These are basically terrorists.
That's
now,
right. Okay, I appreciate the call. We're short on time. I'll see you when we get back. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. Once, twice. Well, listen, you lost your chance, and we are out of time. We'll be back after the cruise. Those of you coming on the cruise, if you've not touched base with Ian lately, give him a call, touch base. Make sure you're checked in. Make sure you're signed up for the excursions, because the excursions have pretty much filled up. And I'll see you guys on Sunday on the cruise. Hey, everyone, thanks so much. Make sure to follow me on YouTube, Brian Craig Show. I will be in touch while we're on the cruise. It is the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. Take care. Have a great weekend. All right, guys, now before you go, I'm telling you guys when I will be checking in on YouTube while I'm gone on the cruise, so keep an eye out for me. I'll be here through the weekend. I'm not leaving till Sunday afternoon, so you'll see me through the weekend as well. Also, when I get back from the cruise, starting the Monday after I get back, I'm going to expand this show another hour. We're going to do a fourth hour. On the days I'm here in this studio, I can't do it when I'm at the radio station, but I am expanding the show. And that extra hour will only be on YouTube. It'll be a YouTube exclusive. So, I'll be able to continue to take calls. I won't be as pressed for time with the breaks then. And won't have to worry about some of the language as much either. So we'll be expanding an hour. Okay. I'm getting text messages from people because I'm doing things before I go away. So, again, make sure you're subscribed. Click that notification bell so you get a notification when I go live on the cruise. But I will be here throughout the weekend. And today, I'll have a new podcast today, like always, because I'm not leaving until Sunday afternoon. All right, guys, thanks for watching. My name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Take care.